Too many horror movie scenes when you look in the mirror and the bad guy is right there. What's a weird phobia you have? I get anxious when a sound gets progressively louder, or beeping gets progressively faster. I don't know why. To be fair, if something is getting progressively louder/beeping faster, then that's probably not a good sign. Moans louder and faster. Danger. You're not helping. An earthquake happening while I'm deep frying or in the middle of draining boiling hot pasta water. Earthquakes in general scare the shit out of me. If it makes you feel better, I grew up in California. Earthquakes were my bread and butter. It wouldn't normally cause a shift that would slosh the hot liquid your way unless you were sitting right under/next to the stovetop. I can still hold an almost full cup of water just fine in an earthquake, 99.99% of them. Oh, thank God, that genuinely makes me feel so much better, thank you. The son of a teacher at my high school was running around with a flag and tripped. Got it lodged into his eye and screamed blood-curdling murder non-stop in front of the whole school. Having an eye injury like that is not a weird fear, of course, but I think my mental scarring from that has made it a full-blown irrational phobia. I can't run in the woods anymore. Oh man, that sounds absolutely traumatizing. That sounds horrible. I have a serious fear of anything sharp near my eyes. I had a small scratch on my eyeball years ago now, but when I went to see the doctor about it, she got a syringe and walked over to me with it. I swear I nearly went to kick her away until she mentioned it was just water to rinse it and there was no needle point attached. I would have kicked her and ran out the door otherwise. Catch me making a new record for running. 'Cause damn. Having my belly button touched. Some part of me is sure you can just push through to my insides right there. I can't let my belly button get touched. It sends a physical like chill type of feeling through my whole body. Idic what it is, if I have a whole bunch of nerves there for some reason, but I can't touch it or let anything touch it. Your navel is rich with nerves. Go Google it. You are not alone. The internal lining of the abdominal cavity at your umbilicus, belly button, is called your parietal peritoneum. This structure is exquisitely sensitive and its sensory nerve fibers relay input back to the spinal cord at the same level as the nerves that relay sensation from your bladder and urethra. Having my Achilles tendon touched by anything. I freak out around shopping carts. Same. I know where mine comes from though. I got stung by a wasp right on the tendon when I was a kid. I was on a boat in the middle of a lake and the wasp had been hiding under my seat. Still have issues with my ankles being exposed. Growing up, I was terrified that somehow someone was going to reach up through the shower drain with a razor blade and slice my Achilles. Completely impossible, but the concept scared the shit out of me. Also, the Hogwarts ride at Universal. Moving around and having my ankles hanging down with unknown things coming out from below me. Nearly had a panic attack on that ride. I feel that. For me it's my plantar fascia, the tendon in the arch. I'm so squeamish about it being touched or stretching. Bleg, makes me feel sick. Irrational fear of it being sliced in half. I'm scared of being in a maze. Not sure if this will help, but you can get out of any maze by putting a hand, left or right, on the wall/hedge closest to that hand and continuing to walk while maintaining contact with your hand, until you are out. It isn't efficient, but it is effective. Yep. I believe the official name for it is the right hand rule. You can get out of any maze regardless of how complex it may be. This doesn't work if there are any pathway loops in the maze surrounding either the starting point or the goal. The solution to this is to use the pledge algorithm. From Wikipedia, the pledge algorithm, designed to circumvent obstacles, requires an arbitrarily chosen direction to go toward, which will be preferential. When an obstacle is met, one hand, say the right hand, is kept along the obstacle while the angles turned are counted. Clockwise turn is positive, counterclockwise turn is negative. When the solver is facing the original preferential direction again, and the angular sum of the turns made is 0, the solver leaves the obstacle and continues moving in its original direction. The hand is removed from the wall only when both sum of turns made and current heading are at 0. Maybe this isn't too weird, but I'm afraid of not being able to see the bottom of a body of water. Whether it's a pool, pond, ocean, or whatever else, if I can fit my body into it but I can't see the bottom, I start getting extremely uncomfortable. I can walk in the ocean just fine, but the second I can't see the bottom due to deepness, or even maybe a wall of seaweed appears, I just have to head back to shore, or at least to a spot where I can clearly see what's below my feet. I own water shoes specifically for ocean and pond swimming, but sometimes even those don't help. I have this. I can't do that deep, dark and endless. Fuck that. I went swimming in a cenote in Mexico, similar to this one. Except the hole to get in it was only about 6 ft x 6 ft wide. Completely dark inside this giant cave except for the beam of sunlight that made it through the entry crack. They gave us tubes to sit on and chill, but when the clouds cleared and the sunlight hit the crystal clear water, you could see all the way to the rocks at the bottom. A whole 75 feet down. Just a tiny sliver of rocks surrounded by blackness. Then at a depth of around 40 feet a large fish swam through the sunbeam and I said, yeah, freak that, I'm out. Chopping vegetables drives me crazy because I can't scrub the smell off. Also like garlic or ketchup. Invest in a stainless steel bar, looks like a bar of soap. Washing your hands using the stainless steel will remove the garlic/onion smell that tends to linger. You can honestly just rub your hands on the faucet when you wash them. It's made of steel too and works just as well without having to buy something separate. I do it every time I slice garlic and it works like a charm. Nothing like giving your faucet a hand job, tears flowing from your eyes. Another good and weird one is a fear of seeing a place the way you're not supposed to. A good example would be a haunted house with the lights on, or going through an abandoned theme park attraction. Disneyland ones are horrible for this, or decrepit houses. Something about it terrifies me and I don't know how people handle urban exploring. I like to explore abandoned/derelict house/buildings for fun. It gives me a huge adrenaline rush from the fact I'm not supposed to be there and see it, and I immediately need to defecate. Going to school for parent-teacher interviews and seeing your school in darkness, that used to freak me out. Maggots. Can't look at them. My flesh creeps. My maggot story would really creep you out. A couple of weeks ago I accidentally left a 8-pound bag of frozen chicken wings in my truck for 3 days in 90 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures. When I found them, the frozen chicken wings had turned into an 8-pound bag of maggots of various sizes on the inside and outside of the bag that they came in. I immediately grabbed the bag to get it out of the vehicle, and the grossest part were the fat ones that got caught between my fingers and the bag. They were cold and slimy and a few popped and exploded by being smashed between my fingers and the bag. The inside of the bag was literally boiling with maggots. I could actually hear them. There were lots of them on the outside of the bag and on the floor of the truck. The main issue was killing them and cleaning up the mess, and it smells like I've had a dead body in my truck. Yo, WTF. Mirrors. Mirrors freak me out. I don't like them. I don't use them. There are none in my apartment except the one in my bathroom, which is the door to my med cabinet, so it's always open and facing the wall. Too many horror movie scenes when you look in the mirror and the bad guy is right there. To be honest, I'm not sure. There's one scene in a TV show that freaked me out at a very young age. I think it was the first episode of Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction, where a woman looks in the mirror and sees a fucked up version of herself. But I don't know if that's what did it. But there's also the fact that I have a seizure condition that occasionally makes me hallucinate. Temporal lobe seizures are a trip sometimes, so I think maybe it has something to do with that. Or id. They just freak me right the freak out. Oof, that sounds rough. I've heard of people using their phone cameras to check hallucinations. If the pic doesn't have it and the video can't hear it, then it's a good sign that it doesn't exist. Nothing to do with seeing yourself though. I'm deathly afraid of talking on the phone. I don't know why, I just can't do it. This is not weird. It is very common, especially amongst people who have any sort of anxiety and social anxiety. In my early life I was much the same way. At some point the only job that I could find was a phone operator. So despite my feelings of phone anxiety, I sucked it up and decided I need a phone-specific persona that I held up, which was a fake person. I did this because I needed to get paid. Worked there for about a year, and had a couple other call center jobs before I got into my real career. This didn't exactly cure me. I still have anxiety about phone calls. But at least I can put on my phone with strangers persona when I have to call someone or answer a call, and that shields me. After years of doing the above, eventually I got to the point that 95% of the time I'm fine on the phone and only 5% of the time do I have anxiety about it. Of course, individual mood can influence the exact percentages, but 95/5 on average. Sometimes I still get anxiety if it's an important phone call. But most of the time I'm okay and my fake persona and regular self are 100% in sync. Along with all forms of anxiety, and in my case especially social anxiety, any one thing that you can do that can go past that anxiety? Do it. Do it often. Do it every time you have the opportunity. This will make the harder experiences a little easier. Once anything gets easy enough to do, repeat this process. Big shapes. When I close eyes and think of them, I somehow get terrified of not being able to conceive the volume of said shape and get the feeling of being consumed. This was something I would feel as a kid. Especially when I was sick, I would feel overwhelmed by the thought of heavy objects and big numbers. 100%. When I was a sick kid, I would always dream that something like the doorway was impossibly far away and be just crushed by the immensity. Or I'd have this nightmare of having to balance the dining room chairs by a single leg on top of each other in giant tower. I'm so glad I'm not the only one who experienced this. I remember having these bizarre dreams where there would be these massive three-dimensional shapes and felt this strange feeling of fear. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to get this video to 54 likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you like our videos. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.